Good morning, campers. Let's do a reading. We're gonna start from tapping into your energy, how you're feeling, so you know this is your collective. I feel like this collective here a little bit not in the nicest place. We're gonna see how serious it is, but just as I sat down, I was feeling sort of I don't want to do this, like lost hope, lost energy. Maybe hope is too much said, but a little bit like feeling under the weather. Let's see, let's tap in. How is this collective feeling? How is this collective feeling? We have strength. Maybe you're pulling on your strength. That's what I'm hearing. All right, okay, we have strength, we have space, so maybe you do feel like you need a little bit of space. I'm hearing empty space as well. I'm hearing empty space, so maybe that's what you're thinking to yourself, that you feel a little bit empty, a little bit like things don't really make much point. But with that strength, I feel like you would be fighting this. You would be fighting this. So maybe you're energetically just not feeling too well, but maybe you do on some level have this understanding that this too shall pass. We have anxiety, so you may be anxious about something. We're gonna tap into that in a moment, but we have that ghost. I will want to confirm, to be honest, because I was hearing more, that this ghost, my ghost is in this deck. It's usually like you've been through this with someone. Someone ghosted you, someone treated you, someone is that kind of a ghost. But I was hearing more, I am that ghost. I'm hearing nothingness. Let's tap in more. Let's confirm strength. I want to pull a couple of tarot for you. I pulled this deck that I rarely use. We have reflection, which is nice. This would mean that whatever is happening, you are reflecting. So you're not just giving in to these feelings, but you're trying to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why am I not feeling at my best? It's like you are pulling on your strength. What? We have sweetness, but that's on top of that space, that nothingness. I feel there is a little bit of like, it's love is rejection. Yeah, so that ghost. It may be that you went through, I don't think, to be honest, you guys, we'll tap into more details, but I'm not sensing something like recent. I'm not sensing for this collective like literally yesterday or the day before someone ghosted you. I'm sensing this is more of like this overall reflection. Maybe there is someone on your mind that recently treated you not in the nicest way, not in the most fair way. I always say this to you guys, although we should have compassion and we should understand that this kind of behavior, it always comes from something. It always comes from wounding, from that person doing that, being wounded, being in pain. But it's never okay. We should have compassion and understanding, but we should not be accepting that, because this is form of mental abuse. It's not okay to do this to anyone. And I say this to you guys all the time. I probably said this to this collective as well in the past, that it's not okay. It's mental abuse. Every person deserves to be treated with respect, and if you had something with someone, be it friendship, be it a fling, be it a one-night stand, whatever that is, anyone deserves that response message. Listen, I'm not interested. So when someone completely disappears with no answer, with no responding, leaving on red, right, ignoring completely, it is a form of mental abuse, and it's not nice. But like I said, we should have compassion, because healed people don't do these things, right? But there's rejection on top of that. But again, I feel like you would have went through this. Maybe again, there's a person on your mind connected to you that did this to you, but I feel like it goes a little bit deeper with this collective. So you would be reflecting maybe that this was done to you by many people at this point. Maybe you're wondering, why do I attract that? Why do I attract that? And that nothingness that we were feeling, it is a little bit around love. So maybe this collective, you're wondering, you're trying to really have that strength, have that reflection. What is it that I'm doing wrong? That this is what I'm attracting. What do I have to course correct? Well, let's then tap into it. Maybe this is what we need to do today. A little message from your guides. What is it that you need to course correct? Anxiety, one more. Love. Yeah. I'm hearing anxious attachment style. We have pain at the bottom of the deck. This collective, if this is your collective, if this is your reading, whether it is or not, you're welcome to stay. I always say this to you guys. You're welcome to listen to my collectives because they always carry universal messages of healing, of love, of truth. But please always be mindful. This is my collective. This is not my collective. So if this is really your collective, you would not be in a relationship right now, this collective, sorry. You would not be in a relationship. You would be in a place of awareness and reflection about love in your relationships. So maybe you are noticing right now patterns in your past connections, past lovers. I heard people you attract into your life. Maybe you're noticing a pattern and maybe you're entering this state of awareness. What am I doing wrong that I am attracting and accepting this behavior? That I cannot seem to figure this out in love, that I constantly feel rejected, that I constantly feel that I give too much than I receive. But there's also anxiety. So you, this collective, you would know that in love, I mean, when we have anxious or avoidant attachment style, right, there's varieties. I never go into it. I think that all we need to know is whether you're healthy, you're anxious, or you're avoidant. That's it, right? The rest fluctuates, but whoever, they're always connected, okay? So the anxious and avoidant, there's reasons coming to my mind. It's how we externalize. Because if you're avoidant, you must suffer from anxiety as well. And if you are anxious, you must be avoiding something. It's just that how we externalize when you connect to other people. So you, this collective, you would know that you, and that's what I was mentioning, that because I was saying love, but if you have anxious attachment style, it's going to translate to all areas of life. You're going to be anxious when it comes to friendships, familyships, even when it comes to your work and life in general, right? Because when we're anxious, we're anxious. When people who are avoidant, they avoid everything, right? Truly, right? So you, this collective, you would be aware that you have anxious attachment style, that love causes anxiety, that how other person feels about you, where they stand in a connection, that it causes anxiety within you. I want to pull a couple of these just to confirm your energy. I rarely use this deck and I was guided to use it. So maybe you somehow connect. We're gonna see what comes through, but maybe you somehow connect to the sea, to mermaids, or you love the sea, or live near the sea, or you were born as well. I'm hearing maybe just a detail. Let's see. Energy for this collective. I have the moon. Yes. What? All right, very nice. All right, we have the moon illusions, So this is your subconscious mind. This is shadow work. This is nice. It means that this collective, you would be sitting in an energy of, and it is on top of that reflection, right? So you would be sitting in an energy of realizations. Don't make this fit. Realizations that you are the problem, that it is you, that there's something within you that you need to heal, course correct, align, to stop aligning with people. I just heard that treat you like garbage, but maybe that's what you're thinking. Maybe that's how you feel, that you're never treated accordingly to what you give and what you have to offer. But the missing element, what we miss in these situations is self-love and longing. People who are good people who give a lot, people who want to love, people who are great potential partners. If you are allowing this behavior, if you're attracting that kind of people that never give you the same, that reject you, that abandon you, that ghost you, it's because you lack self-love and you are in longing. You are in longing for something that you cannot alchemize within yourself because you lack that self-love. So you seek for it externally. and you long for it so much that you push externally. And that's the gap that we need to close. We need to teach you to alchemize these things internally. We do that through shadow work. We do that through that reflection is the first step. So that's amazing. That's amazing that you're doing that. Your second card is 10 of Wands, which is the burden that we carry. 10 of Wands represents our shackles, our burdens, our, whether that's our own shadows and our old traumas or the programming of our mind, whatever is it that we subconsciously operate upon that is not our authentic self and is not our authentic blueprint, what is holding us back, what you need to release, right? Maybe it's a belief deep down that you were programmed to believe that you cannot be happy on your own. The other person must complete you. There is this energy of loneliness and in this space. I don't think this collective, again, be honest with yourself. I don't think this collective, you truly believe you can be happy without relationship, which is sad. And I will tell you an ultimate truth. And I don't care what anyone says. If you think that, no matter what relationship you put yourself in, you will never be happy in that relationship. If we don't alchemize an emotion within ourselves, love, happiness, fulfillment, joy, nothing external, no one external will ever give it to you. Once you have it in you, externally, certain things, certain people, they can mirror it to you, they can amplify it, right? They can activate it, but you have to have it within you. If you don't have love within you, you will never feel loved. You will never feel it. It will be an illusion. It's this illusion. Maybe you're realizing this collective, how much we live in the world of illusions. I feel like you would want to release this burden. We have Wheel of Fortune, Destiny. That's nice. You would be in this, I feel like this collective, you are standing in front of this question, am I ready to start my journey? Am I ready to really tap into the energy of shadow work, of healing? Am I ready? It's like you, maybe there are still certain blockages, maybe you're still a little bit afraid, but it's like you realize that whatever happened to you in the past, you attracted it and you want to course correct. That's on top of that ghost, that rejection. Maybe you're realizing slowly, which is always the ultimate truth, that even if these people caused you pain in the past, that it was meant to happen because it reflected something within you that you were not seeing. All the karmic, this is the job of all our karmic contracts, to reflect something that we're not seeing. Sometimes it's going to be a romantic relationship, sometimes it's going to be a friendship, sometimes it's going to be a mentor, a healer, sometimes it can be a random person on the street that you will have a short conversation, a colleague at work that you'll see only 1-2 meetings, but they will have that impact on you, right? But these are soul contracts we have with other souls, with other people, to meet each other on our path, to learn something. And we learn through reflection because all that is resides within us, right? And we have Page of Cups, which what I heard with this one is inner child. Is inner child. I think this collective, because that's on top of that love and then anxiety, I feel you're starting to connect the dots, right? So you would be starting to really realize how you are and how you act in relationship, in romantic relationships, was influenced by your childhood, by the relationship that you had with your parents. We all have You guys know I always say this. I am hearing father wound for this collective, but what I wanted to say is that we all have father and mother wound. And I don't care what anyone says, because in order not to have a father and mother wound, you would need to have a divine feminine and divine masculine father and mother. Two divines, or even if you would be in a single parent, it could happen. But if your caregivers are in their divinity, so people who went through journey of healing, who are very self-aware, who have expanded consciousness, right? Which, let's face it, it doesn't happen a lot. There's always something that we're working on. You would literally have to have two parents walking the Christ consciousness, not to have any level of father wound and mother wound. Right? So you would be starting to connect the dots. Many women who have anxious attachment style and who allow that low vibrational, distorted masculine energy, ghosting, rejection, playing games in their life, it usually comes from father wound. Because we're not taught proper masculine energy. However, it usually also always links to mother wound, because it's the feminine energy that is meant to teach you unconditional love, how to love yourself unconditionally. That is the job of a mother. That is the role of a feminine energy, to teach children, future generations, to love themselves unconditionally. A love that few people understand these days. There is no but, there is no condition. I love you. You don't have to be a genius, you don't have to be pretty, you don't have to be even a good child. I love you, because that love is our birthright. How I act and how I direct our relationship, that is something that is dependent on our behavior. But that love, that pure love of a mother, pure love that we have towards ourselves and towards others, it's something that a divine feminine mother should teach you. So if that was not present, I will give you a mother wound as well. All right. I want to tap a little bit into your situation, into your love situation maybe. Let's do that. I don't think it's going to be like a specific person for this collective, even if there would be someone on your mind. There would be some recent connection that you had, but I don't feel like you're strongly connected to someone. I feel like it's more, like I said, you're looking at the bigger picture right now. So let's do that, and then we're going to do message from your guides, because I feel like you need that. So let's tap into what's going on right now in your life. What's going on in this collective's life? Alright. Oh, you guys. I was right. I was on to something. We have indecisive. I'm looking at this image, and I feel like this is a little bit your energy right now. Darkness, broken, and a little bit lost. A little bit like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with life right now. We have damage, right? We have damage. So this collective, you definitely had relationships that were, I dare to say, even toxic. Not the nicest relationships, full of distortions, filled with pain, filled with damage, filled with disappointment. It is something that you want to move on from. What I am liking in this energy, I feel like you're still, you know how I always explain to you guys that it's one thing to understand something on a level of a mind, right? So our mind understands it, the idea, the concept, who we want to be, who we're supposed to be. But it's one thing understand that, and it's another to embody. It really requires work. It requires healing. So I think this collective, you want to move on from your past. This is why I was sensing, see, this energy. You guys, we lost part 3. I pushed the button and the 10 minutes and it didn't save, it disappeared. So I'm just going to walk you through because I've done another row. So I'm just going to try to remember and walk you through this, because the last thing that I was saying, it was about this moving on, and I was mentioning that I was sensing for this collective that you're not strongly attached to the person. I mean, you're still attached, but you would be in this moment that you don't want to go back. Like the person that you were in a relationship with or connection with, person on your mind, you still haven't completely healed. Damn, I've said so many wise things. This must have been for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. But, so you know you don't want to go back. And I remember specifically, and it's important, that I said to you guys that it's a mistake that many people make, that the moment you realize that you don't want to go back to someone, right? Instead of really healing the connection and healing your heart, people go into a place of denial and resenting themselves, right? So the moment you realize, okay, I was connecting to someone, I was loving someone, I was trying to give them a lot of my love and myself. And there's an aha moment when you realize this person was never my person. This person is not my soul connection. Maybe you even know that this was a karmic connection meant to teach me something, right? Instead of sitting in a place that requires maturity and self-awareness to say, okay, this person is not my person, but I still have feelings for them and emotions, because they don't disappear from one day to another. So I don't want to go back to this person, but I want to heal. I want to really close this karmic contract. I want to mend. I want to fix myself. I want to close it well with forgiveness, with closing karmic contract, right? So this is a mature way of thinking. I'm going to give myself time. I'm not going to jump into next relationship. I'm not going to hate this person. I'm not going to hate myself for being with this person, no matter what happened between the two of us, no matter the damage that was done. Mature person, when we exit a relationship, we understand, okay, if I entered a relationship that was karmic, it means that there's something that I still needed to learn. It means that I was lacking self-love to truly wait and hold for a real deal. And from a place of longing, I entered a relationship that wasn't true connection. I was blinded to something, right? So now I need a little pause to close this contract, to forgive this person, to forgive my past version of self, truly learn the lesson, and then I'm going to move on, right? But the mistake that many people make is, instead of saying that, the moment they realize that this was not my person, they start to feel this resentment towards themselves that they usually project on their ex. When they're like, I hate this person, it was stupid, narcissistic, mean, they hurt me. Meanwhile, it's all you. So they're projecting that, and they don't give themselves time to heal. Because usually when we know that this is not our person, people have the tendency to deny the love at all, and deny that love was real, and deny that love existed. But it's not how it works, you guys. Love is love. Love is love. The moment we feel it, we feel it. Love is love. So what you have to do is give yourself time to heal. Connect to the past version of self that thought that this person was a true connection. Understand why, not to repeat that again. And this is what I'm sensing for this collective, that you're in this moment. Maybe in the past you did that, because I was sensing reflection for many of your past connections. So maybe you feel really that in the past you would always jump too soon in the next relationship, instead of really heal, instead of really forgive, instead of really move on, instead of really mend what was within you that forced you to be in that relationship, that your soul must have known that it wasn't real. And I think we have these habits here, and I was saying with this that we were that you would be thinking that you're not sure whether there are certain things that you can change. But you guys, we can change anything in life. We can change anything. Everyone has the capacity to change, but it requires time and effort. And courage. And courage. And you are a little bit, I don't remember whether I've mentioned this before or not, that you are a little bit in this like, you know, whenever you look at people who are in love and like kissing and hugging, you're like, ugh, right? Because it's something that you want. And because you could not get it, don't go there. Many people, and I talk about this to you guys all the time, many people, when they want something and they cannot get it, they start saying that it's just not possible, right? People who cannot get into union with their perfect partner, people who cannot get love, people who cannot get fulfillment in life, they start to say that these things are myths, that they don't exist, that this is just a big fat lie. But the fact that you have not achieved something, it doesn't mean that it's not real. A real deal always requires courage, perseverance, patience, healing. Literally, like, my heart hurts right now. You need healing, this collective. This is really it. This heart that needs mending. But it's your heart. But it's good. It would all make sense to you if it's truly your collective, because you're now understanding that in order to ever be aligned with a true soulmate, and this is what I teach you guys. I am a divine love reader. I guide people towards the real love. I'm an alignment reader as well. So we do mission, we do fulfillment, we do everything, right? The whole package. But everyone has the capacity, because we all have, on our highest, most aligned timeline, I always say this to you guys, we all have our perfect partner. But we have to shift our frequency to match that vibration. We have to close the lessons that are needed for us to grow, to reach that highest, most aligned timeline. And most people, they're stuck on a hamster wheel. They're not seeing that. This is exactly why I explained this to you. The moment relationship ends, instead of sitting for a moment, for a year or two, sometimes it requires years, with zero dating, zero flirting, zero new partners, and just seeking for that forgiveness towards myself. Because I'm gonna say it to you, and I want you to really allow this to sink in. If you hate your ex, if you have any level of resentment or negative thoughts, negative feelings towards your ex, they are projections of how you feel about part of you that chose that partner. Always. And I don't care what anyone says, because people who are truly healed, the ex partners, not just ex-partners, but ex-experiences, right? We don't see them as mistakes. We see them as lessons. We neutralize them. We look at them, all those past partners, there's nothing. They're neutral. But this is what healing brings. So if you think about your ex and like, oh my God, this is stupid, narcissistic, ghosted me, hurt me, cheated on me, it's a projection of what you feel towards yourself, the past version of self that chose this person. This is why, in order to ever be aligned with a true soulmate, with a real deal, you have to close these contracts. Because if you don't close them, they're going to repeat themselves. And how to close them? Forgiveness. Forgiveness towards self. And I mentioned this to you guys. When you forgive yourself in every situation, forgiveness to this person comes naturally. It's effortless. That's why I always, if you come to me on sessions and we work through karmic relationships, you would know that I always say this. Never focus on forgiveness, how to forgive this person. Heal. Find it in you to understand what part of you and what shadow within you pushed you to be with this person in the first place. And then forgive that version of self. Integrate that past version of self. Once you forgive her, him, the forgiveness towards this person will just come effortlessly and naturally. That's how it works. That's how we close these contracts and mend these relationships with self.